We are super excited for this.
Welcome everybody to our Monday Mastermind in July. I don't know about you guys, but it's hot here. So we have a great call for you today, all set up. If you're new to our Grow Global group, and many of you are going to see this live today, but most of you are going to see it later on in recording. So if you're new to the Grow Global group, then go to whygrowglobal.com, go to our website. In that site, it talks about the tools and resources that you can use. We are a group of real estate agents from all different real estate companies and all across the country, and even some in other countries. And we help each other grow and expand our real estate business in many different ways. Well, today, we've got a very special trainer here today. Kim and I met him, I think it's close to 17 years, maybe a little more than 17 years ago. And he has a unique style in helping people to improve their business, to take whatever business it is. This is not just real estate. This is any type of business. And so he takes your business and helps you improve on it, increase your results. That's what he's known for. And he's trained all over the world. Kim and I have had the pleasure of being on stage with him in many countries around the world and had a great experience learning from this gentleman. And he's been one of our mentors for years. And when we heard that he was doing a special event coming up soon, we were having a talk and going over what the new event was. It's about helping entrepreneurs and people who are in the sales industry to up their game. I kind of like that because it was generic, right? We're used to real estate related stuff, but in sales in general, you get a lot of generic stuff. But one thing he popped on and said, hey, I'll be happy to do a free training for you guys for a personality training. And then this is something that we learned many years ago through Marc, and it has helped us to identify potential clients faster and to get them closed quicker. It's very unique. And so he agreed to come on and do this training for us, and we're excited to have him on. And I want to turn it over to Marc because I want to give him the full time to be able to explain this, because I'm sure he's not going to be able to get to it all today. He's got a site you can go to learn more about it, but he's going to get you the nuts and bolts of it on this Zoom today. So Marc, you want to take it away?
Absolutely. First of all, so great to be connected with you and Kim again. I remember the first time I met you guys at the Gaylord in Nashville, and you were having lunch with our friend Jefferson.
When was he here yesterday?
Yeah, just from the very beginning, I just could tell you guys were so
that Saturday
on, and watching what you did in that.
Hold on, Marc. I think you got muted. Hold on. Hey, Marc, I need you.
There you go.
You got, you got muted somehow.
All right, no worries. So I was just saying what a pleasure it's been to work with you guys. So the first time I met you and seeing you run that business on top of your real estate, and then we guys got refocused on real estate with the company you're in now, just so impressed. So I'm honored to be here, guys. I love it. I love it. So I know that what I'm going to share with you today, we're going to do it in a context of selling for real estate. But this is so valuable. And I know it's not like I invented personality test. Actually, Hippocrates, the ancient Greek physician, is probably the first person who came up with their 4 basic humors that he talked about. We call them personality traits. And it's powerful. And there's a million versions. There's DISC, there's Myers-Briggs, there's the Enneagram, there's all this stuff. But over the years, everything I had been exposed to was really more about your awareness. And that's good because most people don't understand themselves very well. And I think it was Socrates who said, an unexamined life is one it's not worth living. So on a holistic part of your life, yes, understand your personality is great. But the much bigger lesson for me that I've turned into a lot of money over my career is taking this and understanding how my personality interacts with others. Because it's all, according to Hippocrates, it's based on 4 fluids in our brain. So it's based on the yellow bile, the black bile, the phlegm, and the blood, which I like. I don't even want to think about that stuff. But, I don't know. I don't understand it. I started to read his book and it gave me a headache after a half a chapter. So I just put it down. But I understand that the four personalities that he called phlegmatic, melancholy, choleric, words that we don't use nowadays. So I just give them colors: blue, green, red, yellow. Other people give them seasons of the year or animals. Again, colors matters for one reason, which I'm going to get to in a moment. But what we're trying to do here is very simply give you a competitive advantage that a lot of other people don't have. It's really, really that simple. This has been around for a long time, and a lot of people, maybe even you, have learned it, but only for your own use. But to use it to read other people and morph, the reason we use a color is we think of a chameleon, which is an animal you probably learned about in school. To my knowledge, the only animal that can actually change its color. So that's what we do. Okay. There's red, blue, green, and yellow. And for example, I'll get into each one. I'm a red. So naturally, unconsciously, because this is based on the bile in my brain and all this stuff. So it's not like I think about it. That's the thing you have to understand. Our personality just happens without us thinking about it. So when people go, well, can I change my personality? Can I go from this color to that color? It's like, well, I don't know. Do you know how to manipulate the amount of yellow bile you have in your body? Probably not. So it's not about one color being better than another. It's not about you changing your color. It's about you being a great version of your color, and more so reading other people. It's almost not even about what color you are. It's about reading other people. Here's what's awesome about it. The event I'm doing in September is called Connect, Persuade, and Lead. Those are three skills that to me, every small business person, every salesperson, every management person should know: how to connect, persuade, and lead. I'm all about how-to information. If you get inspired along the way, praise God. But that's not what I'm here for, because my first seminar, when I had my head so far up my butt I couldn't breathe, they didn't inspire me. They taught me, here's how to connect with people. Here's how you do it. So what I'm saying that to say this, what I'm teaching you today makes you better at connecting, better at persuading, and better at leading. The wild thing is, if you really get into it, it makes you a better spouse, a better parent, if you're interacting with human beings, it's going to make you better. Because here's the bottom line. We've all sat across the table from someone, and in the first 3 minutes, 4 minutes, we don't know why, just don't like them. Don't know why, but it's not that they said anything rude or offensive. It just, I don't like their vibe. I just don't, right? That happens. And on the other hand, we've all just met someone, we don't know them from Adam, and we sit down just within 2, 3, 4 minutes. You're like, wow, really? I like this guy. Like, he's cool. So a lot of times that's nothing more than your color, either liking their color's natural traits or disliking them. So if I can sit down with you in a matter of minutes and read you and then quickly change your language. So let me give you a better way of looking at it. Let's say of all the languages in the world, there's only 4. Let's get rid of all the rest. Let's say there's English, Spanish, French, and Chinese. Okay, those are pretty different languages. So the bottom line is, if you think about those languages, right? I've traveled all over the world. I've been to 70 countries. I know Rob and Kim have traveled a lot. So there's times that I can tell what language someone's speaking, even though I don't speak it, I can identify it. There's other times I don't know what the hell language they're speaking at all. But if there were only 4 of them and we heard them over and over and over again, we'd be able to at least identify them quickly, right? So I start speaking to Kim in English and she starts speaking back in Chinese. It would be obvious, right? Obvious what language she's speaking. Now, that's one thing or if it was French, or if it was Spanish. I want you to get the first part of this process is you have to identify the color of the other person, but I'm using the analogy of what language they're speaking. Now, if you identify it, but you don't switch to speak their language, it's not going to do you any good. So in other words, if I speak English, she speaks Chinese, and I go, oh, she's speaking Chinese. If I know how to speak Chinese, wouldn't I just start speaking Chinese? And if I did, wouldn't it give me a major advantage? If I'm trying to sell her a property, Chinese people have a lot of money, and I was trying to sell her a property, and I could just like that speak her language. Holy shit. Now, here's the cool thing. Right now, if you honestly were trying to break into the Chinese speaking language, it would take you years to be able to be fluent in the language. Here's what's wild. All of us all have blue, green, red, yellow. You have all 4 of them in you already. So without even knowing it, you speak some of the language. And some of you speak a lot of the language because that's already your primary language. So what I want to do right now, if you could, so I want you to go to my website when it's done, and I have a free gift for you. Okay, so when anyone goes to marcaccetta.com, you can take the test for free. I want you to be able to identify what your color is, and you get a free report. But it's a very simple, basic free report. Most people upgrade to our entry level product, which is a very detailed report about you personally. Not all reds get the same test or all blues. It's you specifically, a breakdown of how much blue, how much red, how much yellow, how much green, what your tendencies are, what the ideal career for you is, what you like, what you dislike, what turns you on, what turns you off, famous people that are your personality. There's all kinds of stuff there. And then once a week, I do a live training called Living in Full Color, which is a more advanced version because I just don't have enough time today to do everything. But I want to give you that. If you go there and you take the test and then you go to buy that product, it's $30 product, basically $29. You put in the discount code that I've given for Rob and Kim, that I'm sure that's in the chat or will be in the chat.
Yep.
And you get that for free. Just when you go in the shopping cart, put in the code and you'll get it for free. And I really, really, really urge you to do that because there is no way in hell I can appropriately teach you everything I need to teach you right now. So that will help you a lot. But when you read it, you're going to see, okay, like let's say your highest color is red, and you may be 35% red, but then you're going to go, yeah, but I'm 30% blue, and I'm 25% green, and I'm 20% yellow. So my point is you already know how to speak all 4 languages, but you've never been presented it to you this way. And I know it's a little bit of an abstract comment. So now let's pause all that and let me talk to you about the 4 main colors before you take the test, because I want to give you an idea of how you interact. So start off with a red. Reds are driven, they're aggressive, they're competitive. They want to win. So if we're playing checkers, or we're playing the game of Clue, if we're playing flag football, if I'm in sales, I want to beat your ass. That's what I'm here for. I'm competitive and I want to win. Usually reds are self-centered, egotistical. The world revolves around them. They show up late for a meeting and, you're lucky that they showed up. You know what I mean? That's the way they view the world. They're trying to fit 10 hours and 8 hours all the time. So they do run late all the time. They're always chasing a goal. Now, and again, a lot of people listen to red thing. Ooh, I should be a red. They're driven, they're brave, they're competitive. Yeah, a lot of great things about a red, but don't lose, they're egotistical. They're self-centered. They usually have bad tempers. They have a hard time controlling their negative emotions. They are terrible team players. They are natural leaders and they need to be in charge, but they're great leaders. So if you let them be the leader, they'll normally lead you in a really good direction. But if you don't let them be the leader, then a lot of times they'll cause politics. They'll talk shit behind your back. So there's all sorts of good and bad things about a red. They're very materialistic, very. So if you're selling to them, they want the most expensive. They don't want a deal. I mean, they want a deal, but their ego is what you're selling to. So reds buy Louis Vuittons. They buy Birkins because Louis Vuitton for a real red is not good enough. They have to have a Birkin. So when they get in a elevator with another woman who's only got a Louis Vuitton, they've got a leg up on them. They are oddly competitive. They want the very, very best. And they will spend money. They make a lot of money and they spend a lot of money. And when you're selling to them, they're the ones who instantly buy. They just instantly look at it. They'll walk into a house, look around and go, yep, I like it. How much it, right away. There's no now I'll talk about a green and a yellow, totally different. So the first thing is if you can identify who you're dealing with, then later we'll talk about how to change to what flips their trigger and how you close them. So reds are buyers. They're not window shoppers. They will not show up if they can't afford the house. They won't. Okay. And if they want it, they're going to figure out a way to get the money. They're very smart. They're very creative. They're going to figure it out. Okay, they have big egos, so you can play their egos. But again, I'll get to how to work them in a moment. Second thing is a yellow. Now, in a lot of ways, yellows are almost the exact opposite of a red. Not in all ways, but in a lot of ways. So yellows believe the best things in life are free. That's pretty different than being materialistic and driven, and you have to have the biggest house and the best car and all that kind of good stuff. They're relationship driven. So they don't care about making a lot of money. They don't care. They don't want to play a game of Clue and win. They just want to play because they get to be with their friends and their family and have a really good time. They care more about other people's themselves. They're not self-centered. They're the opposite of that. So why is a yellow getting a house? They want it for their family. What's going to be good for their children? Or is it going to be big enough to have their mom and dad move into the upstairs bedroom? You know, I mean, how about kids? Or I'm sorry, pets. Is it good for kids? Is it good for pets? So that's the kind of stuff they care about. They care about everyone else and their family's needs other than themselves. Does that make sense? Okay, and they're just soft spoken. So reds are loud, focused, driven, aggressive. When a red is talking to you, it's like they're giving you their opinion. They're not giving you their opinion. They're stating an absolute fact. Like there are, if you disagree with them, you're basically an idiot. Yellow is the exact opposite. You're just very conversational. Like with a red, if you say, "How are you doing?" they'll tell you how amazing they are. And they won't ask you how you're doing. They don't really care. A yellow will ask you how your day is going, and they'll listen to you, and they'll ask you follow-up questions. So they really care. Now, when you're dealing with the yellow, if you are not a yellow, they don't care how much you know unless they know how much you care. They are more intuitive than anyone else. So if they don't have a good feeling, you can either be audio, visual, or kinesthetic. I'm sure you've heard that. So people make decisions based on what they see, what they hear, what they feel. Yellows more so feel things. So if you're aggressive, driven, if you're abrupt, if you're not nice, if you're not listening to them when they're talking to you, then they're not going to feel that they can trust you. That's a problem. So again, they're very opposite than reds. Now, blues, Tim is the ultimate blue, are the party bus, like fun, outgoing, wear bright colors, they're loud, they're charismatic, they're funny, they're the life of the party, they're very, very spontaneous. So they would go to an open house in 1 minute and buy it an hour later. They're like, yeah, I don't know if I have the money, but I'll figure that out. You know what I mean? It's like, geez, this is about 2.5 hours from where I work, but I'll figure it. Like they're very opposite of greens, which I'm going to get to in a moment. Greens, everything is planned and precision and detail. Blues are the exact opposite. It's like, let's just have a good time. I want to have fun. Is it going to be like, are there a lot of people around here? Are there young people? Will I have a lot of friends? Is this a party area? Can I have parties in my house? Will that piss anyone off? Blues want to have parties. You follow? They want it to be social. So if you're in a house and it's got a great area for partying, it's got an outdoor balcony, it's got a big pool, to other people, that wouldn't matter nearly as much as it does to a blue, because blues are going to want to entertain. They're always going to have people over the house. They're going to care about all that stuff that a lot of other people don't really care about. Now, blues, how do you know they're a blue? They're going to be late for the appointment. Blues are freaking late for everything. That just, it's not a value to them. It's not a big deal. They get very distracted. And that's the other way it's a blue. So you're talking to them, and then they're talking about this, talking about that. Oh my God, did you see the episode of Game of Thrones last night? That was so incredible. Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. Then you're talking, oh, you know what? Did you see the thing that happened on the sporting team today? That they're gonna change their name back to the Redskins? I can't even believe that. Anyway, tell me about the bedroom again. Oh yeah, the bedroom, oh yeah, oh my gosh, they're here, they're like they're ADD to the 11th degree. So you give them very simple, basic information. Don't give them a lot of detailed facts and figures. First of all, if you give them a lot of detailed facts and figures, they're going, okay, I'm out. Like number one, they feel stupid. Number two, they don't care. You know what I mean? So all they care about is simple, basic, general information. Okay, last but not least, greens. Totally opposite of blues. Everything is precision detailed. They need everything, every fact you have about this house. about the property taxes, about the survey, whatever, anything you can give them, the more information they have, the more likely they are to make a decision. They'll want to know things like, is it a safe neighborhood? They're logical people. What's the average heating bill? What's the average water bill in the neighborhood? Like, the more of that information you have prepared for them, the more impressed they're going to be with you and the more likely they are to buy. They are least likely to buy anything on site. They are the thinkers. They overthink things. They are very bright. They're very detailed. And reds and greens don't like to be pushed. They're leaders. They want to make their own decisions. Blues and yellows like someone that they like and trust to tell them what to do. So again, greens, facts, figures. If you have rating, like the third-party documentation is a gigantic thing for a green. So if there's something amazing about your agency that you've won an award or you're noted for, tell them. Not that you wouldn't tell that to everyone, but emphasize that to a green because it really matters. Anything where whatever this property, this house, anything has any kind of third-party documentation, they just love that kind of stuff. Here's the other thing you got to understand. Anything you don't tell them, they will find out. They're going to find out. They are research maniac lunatics. They're going to do all the research. So again, be really, really upfront with them and be like, again, I'm not sure how you're doing it, but if you go and say, you know what, the great thing about this property is it will probably increase in value tremendously. And then don't tell that to a green. You might tell that to a red, but not to a green. Tell greens like, you know what? Appraisal or you know, the value in this neighborhood is usually pretty good, but you know, let's just say downplay everything. They frickin' hate hype. They hate anything that's not facts and figures and details. And they're normally pessimistic and they normally don't trust people. So you got to go out of your way to build rapport with them. But here's the bottom line. They're not good at building rapport. How do you know you're dealing with a green? When you start talking to them, they give you one-word answers. How was your day? Good. If you ask a yellow how their day was, oh my gosh, it was really good. I got up at 7 o'clock in the morning and my husband, oh my gosh, he hasn't been feeling really well. So I did this, I did that, I did this. Then I had to get my kids breakfast ready. I did this and I did it. Oh, it's like, oh my gosh. With a yellow, you have to learn how to politely cut them off at some point. With a green, they go, good. Okay, and how long have you lived in the neighborhood? Not long. So that's just understand they don't like making small talk. So try to find something you have in common with them, whether it's a sports that they like this kind of sport, or maybe it's their kids and your kids are the same age, something. Obviously, building rapport with any client is really important. With green, it's harder to do. But again, just if they're giving you a vibe like they don't like you, just they don't really like anyone. It's not that they don't like anyone. They don't trust people. They're more skeptical of your motives. They're expecting you to screw them over. So be precise. If the house is worth 1.5, don't say, I'm sorry, 1.4, don't say 1.5. Because they'll kill you on that one. Don't round things up. Keep everything either exactly like it is, or if anything, round it down. And then when they do the research and find out it was actually a little more than what they thought, they'll think you're awesome. Okay, so that's a quick run through of a blue, green, a red, a yellow. So now, again, the first thing I remember when I learned this information is, oh my gosh, it's going to be hard to read people. Like that was a limiting belief on my part. Like, how am I going to know if they're blue, green, or red? So let me go back to the language thing. For real, if you had to say, are they speaking Chinese, Spanish, English, or French? Would it be hard, or would it be like, well, that's obvious? Okay, now speaking French just like that may be more complicated, but the first thing is identifying their language. So let's do this real fast. They're what I call 50-50 rules. So reds are loud, blues are loud. So if someone's loud, they're probably a red or a blue. Blues and reds often show up late. Blues show up late because they just show up late because that's who they are. Reds, I already told you, are busy. They got a lot of things going on. They're self-centered. So if they're a little bit late, running a little behind, that you're lucky they showed up. Let me tell you this, though. If you're presenting to a red, you better be on time, because everything for a red is about respect. And you may think you're a blue realtor and you show up late. Again, this is where this is real. This is no bullshit. And you show up late and it's no big deal. Oh, I'm only 3 minutes behind. To a red, you disrespected them because you showed up late. And I know that may not make any sense to you whatsoever, but again, it doesn't matter if it makes sense to you. It matters that it's real in the mind of the person you're dealing with. So again, you identify them. So 50-50 rules. Reds and blues are loud, reds and blues are late. Yellows and greens are more soft spoken. Yellows and greens are almost on time. Greens are life runs on precision. And a yellow, they're really courteous and respectful, and they don't want to be rude and be late for the most part. Now, by the way, none of this is an exact science. So, in other words, is it possible for a green to be late? Probably not. Greens are 15 minutes early for. It's possible, though. It's possible. So if everything else says this person is green, but they were late, maybe they literally had the worst accident in the history of mankind on traffic on the way to get there, but they're so good with traffic apps, they probably would still be there on time. If someone is late, is it definite they're a blue? No, it's not. And could a blue actually show up on time? Yes. So none of this is an exact science. It's designed to give you a competitive advantage. So I spent many, many years of my life in sales, most of my life in sales. And again, any little advantage, I think about a professional athlete. You know, I was a baseball player. Maybe you don't play baseball and that's okay, but you'll follow this anyway. So in baseball, you have someone throws the ball and there's 8 other people besides the pitcher trying to catch the ball wherever you hit it. The hitter's up there by himself. That's a whole nother teaching. When he hits the ball, my job, if I'm the second baseman or the shortstop, is to catch the ball. Now, if I know that my pitcher is going to throw the ball 100 miles an hour and the guy is right-handed, I know he's probably going to be late getting around because the ball is going so fast. So I'm going to take one step to my right. That's all. One step. And then he hits the ball and you see players dive for the ball. How many times do they dive and miss it, which is bad if you're trying to catch it? Or other times they dive and they catch the ball. That once, you have no idea if you don't understand baseball, how many times he caught the ball because he took that one step, because he was watching what the catcher was telling the pitcher, what pitch it's going to be. And that's how serious people like Tom Brady, Derek Jeter, all these athletes are looking, Kobe Bryant, they're looking for the tiniest little thing because sports are a game of inches. So is sales. So knowing one little thing could make all the difference in the world. So showing up on time when you normally don't show up on time could be a really big deal. Okay, back to 50-50 rules. When someone greets you warmly, again, you meet a lot of people you don't know. If they're like really friendly, they're probably a blue or a yellow. If they hug you, they're probably a yellow. That is off-putting to a green, by the way. So if you're yellow and you just think, well, everyone, I'm just a hugger, and it's like greens are going, oh shit, are you sick? Why are you hugging me? Like, you know, just, and reds don't like people invading their personal space either. So yeah, greens and yellows will give you a proper professional handshake. If someone's trying to break your hand, male or female, it's a red for sure. Okay. So there's this distance, like, and then you start talking to people. And if you notice, oh, and again, this happens every day, but you're not paying attention to it probably. So if there's a distance, you're going, okay, they're a red or a green, because that's the way it is. If they're, Jerry Seinfeld will call them a close talker. If they're closer to you, then they're probably yellow or blue. Okay. The way they dress. If someone looks like they put a lot of energy into their appearance, they're probably a red or a blue. Red's more formal, more designer brands all over a red. Blue's flashy, like trendy, what's really hot right now, and bright colors. Now, if they don't have any of that going on, they're probably a yellow or a green. Okay, now, is it possible for a green to have a Fendi bag? Yes, but probably not, because they feel like that's a waste of money. They can get a perfectly good bag that costs $200 instead of $3,000. It's possible, but it's unlikely. And again, I'm a detective. I'm looking for clues. That's the basic way you want to frame this. So if someone's put a lot of energy into their hairstyle, if you look at their nail polish, if it's a lady and it's a bright, bright color, probably a blue. If you look at it's a very professional red or French manicure, ombre manicure, it's probably a red. You know what I mean? Hairstyles. If it's bright colors, if they've colored their hair, if it's an unusually bright color, that's almost always blue. But then again, when I look at them and there's nothing special about their appearance, that they're not going out of their way to try to look great, it's probably yellow or green. So again, one more thing, the ultimate thing when it comes to what color are they, what language they speak, is just listen to them. Reds talk about themselves. Reds talk about everything as it's a fact and it's a detail and that you should do what they tell you to do. Okay. A blue is high energy, bubbly, fun, all over the place. They can't stay on the same topic. Very charismatic, very outgoing, very social. A yellow is very soft spoken, much more soft spoken, much more heartfelt. They'll talk about their dog and their children. They're going to talk about everyone other than themselves. So reds only talk about themselves. Yellows never talk about themselves. They talk about their family, people they care about. They're often distressed by what's going on with the war, what's going on with politics. Why can't people get along? They're natural peacemakers. They want everyone to get along. So if the conversation's going anywhere in there, now the same conversation with a red, yeah, this is the guy. If you're not this political party, you must be an idiot. That's a red. Like that's just, not that that comes up a lot, but if it does, I'm just sharing. That's what's going on. Green, not going to say much. Very soft spoken, not a lot of just short words, short conversations, and just listen to what you can tell their mind is spinning. They're very precise, they're very detailed. So again, let's get to where the rubber meets the road. How do you alter so if you figured out what your color is, that's great. It's nice to know your color. Get your detailed personal report, and that's how you can really work on you. By the way, we do have upgraded courses called master classes where you can take deep dives on this stuff. But you'll be fine if you just get the products I'm giving you as a free gift. You'll understand the great deal of what I'm talking about right now. So anyway, going back to what I'm saying. So I've got to read you first. Then the whole thing is I become a chameleon and change. And now I'm communicating because what I want is within 3 or 4 minutes, you just go, I don't know why. I just like this guy. Because we understand people buy from us if they like us and trust us. So they're more likely to like us and trust us if nothing about us sets off these unconscious triggers they have that make people just not like you for whatever reason. Okay, so if I'm dealing with a red, I'm going to talk loud. Now, what if I'm a yellow and I don't normally talk in a loud? I'm going to talk up and I'm going to be more firm. Reds everything is based on respect. If they do not respect you, they're not going to buy a house from you. They're going to try to get someone else to sell it to them because they don't think you know what you're doing. So if you are unprepared, you're in deep shit. You need to show up ready to go. They're going to ask you tough questions. You cannot be intimidated by a red. Remember, they're buyers. They are ready to buy. If you answer the questions satisfactorily, they're going to buy. So be confident, okay? Be firm. Don't be afraid of them. Don't go, that's the worst thing you could possibly do with them. So if you read and you know that they're a red, just be confident, step into that place, be firm, talk loud. And, definitely when it gets to the end, the most important thing as far as closing goes, never tell them what to do. Never say, you know what, if I were you, I would get this. This isn't going to be on the market very long. That's the worst thing you can do to a red. They are in charge, or they have to feel like they're in charge. So you can say, now listen, I do want to let you know, I don't think this house is going to last very long the way it's priced. But obviously, I know you probably already studied the market. You probably know a lot about this. So, it's your choice. Do you want to put an offer in now, or do you want to think about it for a couple of days? Yeah. And I don't use your own. That's probably a terrible closing technique. But my point is give them an alternative choice question. That was a terrible. Let's erase that from the recording. You can tell I'm not selling a lot of houses right now. So, but give them a, do you want this or that? So I know we looked at the other property. Maybe that's a better one. Do you want to get this one or that one? Which one do you think is the best one for you to put an offer in on? Give them a choice is extraordinarily important with a red. Okay. And be ready for objections. Okay. And don't back down or don't. Now, you can't be like two rams fighting. That's another thing that can, let's say you're a red and you're dealing with another red. So do you want to be right or do you want to be rich? Okay. So you probably want to be rich. So let them be the alpha male or the alpha female. Let them be superior. Let them, everything, the more it's their idea, the better it is. So if you're thinking along those, how do I make it this guy's idea or this gal's idea that this property is better than the other one? And you're just teeing up the alternative choice questions to let them make the choice that is most likely the right choice. But remember, they want to look at the most expensive shit. And whenever like this is the most, anything that's the most exclusive that other people don't get, you know, that you can have access to the country club membership. This is the most desirable country club membership. Nobody else and everyone wants to belong to Dallas National. By buying this house, you'll be eligible to get a membership here. And even if the guy doesn't play golf, that's a selling point because it's exclusive and it's something no one else can afford. You know, between you and I, most people can't even afford the property tax. Like the property tax here more than most people's mortgages. You know, I mean, that's why, you know, it's just, I know that sounds counterintuitive, but I'm telling you, Reds, the more you build them up to be the master of the universe, the better. And the more what they're buying sets them apart from everybody else, the better. Okay, when you're dealing with the yellow, none of that shit matters. They could care less. So just don't even get into it. Okay. It's like, you know what? Your access to the country club. You know, the thing I love most about Dallas National Country Club, it's like it's such a family environment. And when you go there and kids are welcome. And I was over there the other day and I saw someone had their dog with them and it was in yellows. You go, no way. I can put my dog over there. That would be so great. And you know, so many times you're going to see this a cul-de-sac, and I know that there's at least two other families on the street that have children or about the age of your child. And, you know, I think for someone like you, that's probably one of the most important things, you know what I mean? So any like this is, and again, this is their home. It's not a house, it's their home. With the yellow, they're looking for a home. They're not looking for resale value. This is where me and my family, someday I'm going to give this to my children. This is going to be their house. We're going to draw the line on the wall. There's going to be the wall that shows their different heights. Anything that's warm and fuzzy, and this is going to be your home. Can you see this? Can you see, like, you know, you plant a tree in the backyard and then 10 years from now it's blossom and this is your home and you can do whatever you want to do in here. And, you know, just imagine putting your touches on and having your photos all around the place, that kind of stuff. Just anything that's warm and fuzzy. When you're ready to close them, say, you know, again, note my tone of voice. You know, if I were you, because I just, you know, again, I have to, you know, I have to do my job. So if someone else wants the property, I want you to get this property. I just think you're the right person for this. I really think that you'll value that. I know the owners and I know they want someone like you, but between you and I would put an offer in right now because I'm afraid if you don't, you're going to lose the spot. But nicely tell them exactly what to do. If I were you, I would put an offer in for this much money. I guess I probably shouldn't tell you this, but if you put it in for that much, I'm pretty sure they're going to take it. And I know how much you're going to love living in this home. So please don't tell them I told you that, whatever, something like that. With a blue, again, again, I'm going to be short, sweet, to the point. Not a lot of details, not a lot of facts, nothing about the survey, none of that crap. Just I'm going to highlight all the fun parts, how you can have lots of people over. You know, I mean, the pool is badass. Imagine, you know, you put speakers out here and you could have speakers by your pool and anything that appeals to fun, adventure, and that stuff. And again, at the end, Say, look, here's what I would do. Honestly, dude, like, and again, like slang expressions like that, as much as you may think that's crazy, like, brother, here's what I would do, brother. Like any familiar terms like that, blues actually like that, feel more connected to you that way. And it's like, I would definitely say, go ahead and put your offer in today. Cause honestly, if you don't, it's probably going to be gone by tomorrow. And I really like you. So again, whatever it is, nicely tell them what to do. And then with the green, again, now I'm going to be firm, but I'm not going to be loud. They don't like loud, but I'm going to be firm and I'm going to be certain with a green. And I'm going to like keep it nothing hype, everything very factual. The more details, give them the average water bill in the area, the average electricity bill in the water, the more they know exactly what this whole experience is going to be like. The fact that it's close to the airport. It takes about 18 minutes to get to the airport from here on a normal day. That's the kind of shit that they're going to be impressed with you. Like, wow, like, and that matters to them, where to other people, they would never think, this is how long it takes to get to downtown. This is how long it takes to get here. So you give them the fact, and then at the end, again, give them an alternative choice. And understand more so than anyone, when they say, I'm going to have to think about it, they mean it. Everyone else is trying to blow you off. Greens are actually going to think about it. So don't let that be a turnoff. With following up, I would say, and this is something Rob and Kim and I taught them this a long time ago. Bam, fam, book a meeting from a meeting. Whenever you're following up with someone, set up a time now to follow up with them then, especially with a green. And with all of them. A red's so busy, if you don't set up a definite time, you're never going to get them again. A green is precise and detailed, and they'll like it that you said, let's get together Tuesday at 1 o'clock for a cup of coffee and talk about it further and answer more of your questions. Things like that. So try to book a meeting for a meeting. Remember, with greens and reds, you can only push so far. You have to back off. You have to be smart. It's like drilling. If you ever used a drill, an electric drill, you're drilling it in, and you hit a knot, you got to pull it out, or you're going to break the drill bit. So you go ahead, apply some gentle pressure. Always apply some gentle pressure to any of the 4 colors. But when you hit that drill bit, then back off. With a yellow and a blue, they're more likely, when you apply a little more pressure, if you're doing it nicely, remember, nicely is important, then they're more likely to go along with what you want. So that was that. Now, I do have this event that's coming up in Dallas, and I'd love to share a little bit about that, because I know Rob and Kim are going to be there. Going to have them on stage doing a little bit. Rob, for sure. Kim, I got to arm wrestle her to convince her to do something. But for sure, Rob is going to speak. So listen, I've got 37 years of teaching people how to connect, persuade, and lead. And we're going to go, by the way, this will be part of what we teach there in more detail, because again, it helps you connect, persuade, and lead. And when we have more time to get into it in a little bit more detail, I can really, really drive the home point more effectively. But what we're going to do is just each day, we're going to drill down into those 3 segments. And if right now, let's face it, if you connect better than you're connecting now, and we're not going to give you generic things like you need to talk to more people. Well, Forrest Gump I know. How do you talk to more people? Listen, I have a guy who's friends who taught me how to connect. One of my best friends was, like, for example, he was with Richard Branson and got his phone number in under 60 seconds. And communicates with them on a right. If I took my friend Larry unfortunately is in Asia. I tried to get him to come speak at the event, but he couldn't because of other commitments. But I'm going to teach you everything Larry would teach you about connecting. And I'm telling you, it's probably way advanced. If all you did was come for learning his connecting techniques, imagine having way more people in your pipeline and more qualified people in your pipeline. When it comes to persuasion, again, I've got some here, you probably know who Patrick Bet-David is. One of his top agents in insurance. I mean, a couple that is so dynamic, so powerful. They're going to be teaching at the event. I've got people other than Rob that in real estate are going to be teaching at the event. I've got a lady named Lauren LaHave, who is one of the most dynamic female empowerment people. She has been working with Tony Robbins and actually for a year of her life moved to Fiji to lead his life mastery program. How good are you if Tony Robbins says you do it? You got to be kidding me. I mean, I am overwhelmed with how blessed I am to have the array of speakers. So right now, when you go to the website, you're just going to see me, but it's going to be way more than me. We're going to announce all these additional speakers here in a couple days. We're going to have some panels. Here's the bottom line. We're doing this event, and I know, again, I apologize for the commercial, but I want to do a few Q&As, but I've been doing this for 37 years. I'm a live event guy. Now we're online right now. Praise the Lord for technology, but I hate this shit because afterwards I can't get to know you. We can't have a drink at the bar. I know Rob and Kim, and I don't know Rob and Kim as friends because we hung out on a Zoom call 20 times. We were face to face all over the United States, then eventually all over the world. And we're actually really good friends now, which is so cool. That culture, everyone talks about culture. How do you have culture without being with people? So this is the first live event. I've done live events for 37 years. I've never done one once ever where anyone from any walk of life could come to it. It was always in a very specific, like I did insurance for the last 3 years for an insurance company. If you're not an insurance agent in that company, you couldn't come. I've done that with direct sales, network marketing. So now for the first time, anybody can come. So the price per ticket, I want to make this price in the way people couldn't afford to say no. So it's only $5.99 to attend. It's Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, September 12th to 4th. The 12th Friday is a registration day. If you do decide to upgrade to a VIP Inner Circle ticket, then we have a lot for VIPs in Inner Circle on Friday. But most people, Saturday and Sunday, 9 to 6, going to be very packed with information. So $5.99 for a ticket. Right now, we have an early bird special that is $3.99, but you guys have an additional discount code that Rob will give you that makes it $2.99, so half price. And if you get a ticket now, we give you a second ticket for free. So I'm telling you, I'm sure you guys attend seminars, and I know a lot of you guys attend seminars that are not cheap like I do. Why are we pricing it so inexpensive? I know some people are going, well, it can't be any good because it's cheap. No, it's cheap because I don't want anyone to have an excuse not to come. It's my first event ever. Most of you guys have never worked with me. So, of course, I've got a lot of people who've worked with me forever that are coming, like Rob and Kim. But I want to bring in a bunch of people. I just want to make the price point so ridiculously low that it's a non-negotiable. And bring a team member with you. A lot of you guys have teams. So buy one ticket, run a contest, have someone, if they sell 5 homes, 3 homes, 1 home, whatever, you'll bring them to this badass event so you make more money and you're able to get another person. And when they leave that event, they're going to be better than they were before they went to the event. So that's the event. So you've got all the information about it. I would be honored if I could spend a whole weekend with you instead of a little bit of time. But now that we're done with all that, Rob, I still have about 12 minutes here to do Q&A. So how do we have questions? Do you have a question you want to start with? How do you want to do that?
Yeah, so first off, if anybody has a question for Marc about how to leverage what he talked about today, then open your mic and talk or raise your hand, and we can have him talk about that. But Kim and I have used this technique for our entire lives, for everything, whether it be friendships, whether it be sales, whether it be recruiting. I use it to this day in recruiting and identifying somebody's personality type and how I'm going to interact with them in order to best match and mirror their personality. And it's been highly successful. So I would highly recommend that you go to his site and take the free personality report. And then you get the free upgraded by using the code that we put in the chat. I'll also have the code on the website too if you want to do that. So you get the updated report upgraded report for free, which I need to do because I haven't taken this report in 10 years. Yep. I'm sure it's updated by now. I need to redo mine.
Me too, me too. I mean, the thing about this, what I learned, all these colors is like that's naturally your colors. And what Marc taught us was that, you need to be able to speak all those colors. That's the key. And if you want to be a master, which I know I am, it's like I show up, people, nobody in this group, beside this group, nobody knows that I'm like very happy. My green level is very low in on the test. But in real life, like the guy that we just closed on a home, and I have an agent on here know that I'm working with her, Georgia. She knows. He's like, man, keep me so analytical. As far as he's concerned, I got all the numbers, all the facts, all the figures about the property and everything that he is like, oh my God, I'm going to recommend you to all the accountants. Imagine that. Me, an accountant, okay? Because I think about it. And because of the test for Mark, so I really vow for that aspect of it. And I use it every day. And then when I hang out with people, like the guy that had just jumped up, he had to jump up, but he loved it. Emerson, him and I, we are blue. He said, oh my God, Kim, you and I are blue. And because people will connect thinking I'm exactly that color, which I am too, but naturally I'm a yellow, man, introverted yellow. Nobody could tell that. But because of this test, I'm able to show up and enjoy the process because I know that it will make the other person feel good that I actually am their color. And actually, part of us are all of that colors, right, Mark? And so, Mark, how do you tell people? What is the first thing you do when you meet somebody, Mark? What is the first thing you do when how do you say,
well,
how
again,
do you do?
honestly, Kim, I use my own 50-50 rule. So like,
Tell us, Mark, tell us about your 50-50 rule.
okay, so before I meet you, I'm like, if you're on time or not, right? So if you showed up on time, in my head, the first thing is they're probably yellow or green. And this, by the way, now it's not even conscious, it's unconscious. I've done it so many times, but it's like if you're late, I'm like, okay, they're either a red or a blue. Let's figure it out when they show up. So I already cut 50% out, is what I'm saying. And I haven't even met you yet. Now, when you show up, you're a red or a blue. So most likely, not guaranteed, but there's a strong possibility. So if you pull up in a Bentley, you're a red. Like done. You're late and you're a red in a car. That you're a red. So now, even before you open your mouth, I know you're a red. Now, if you pull up in your convertible Mustang, you're probably a red convertible. You're a blue, most likely. You're late and you're in a bright, like, look at me, not super expensive car. That's probably a blue. Then I start again. I'm seeing when you greet me, are you really, really close to me? The things I just shared with you, by the time you're on time or late, you've greeted me. I've listened to the tone of your voice and I've looked at the way you're dressed. I've already figured out what you are before you even really say anything of substance. But then all I do is I ask a couple of generic questions. Anything. How is your day today? And again, a red is going to tell you everything about something that's important to them. They don't get, and they will never, the one thing with the red, they'll never ask you how your day is going. They truly don't give a shit. A green will give you the shortest answer in the world, and reds and blues will be more garrulous. Blues are all over the place. Yellows are much more soft-spoken and kind-hearted. So for me, it's like, it's so obvious, but I know in the beginning it wasn't, especially because I had the limiting belief, like this might be hard. So the first thing I really want to get you to understand is it's not hard. If I can really, it's not hard. If you start doing this, but don't just do it at work, do it every time you meet anyone. Play the game in your head. Are they blue, green, red, or yellow? Blue, green, red, or yellow? Blue, green, red, or yellow? And now, not to further complicate it, but most people, according to all the studies, are dominant in one. So like, let's just say the red score is like 35 to 40% of their total graph is red, but you're going to meet people who are like 26% green, 25% red, 25% blue, and 24% yellow. You know what I mean? So they're almost exactly. And then you're like, well, wait a minute, they're blue, they're yellow, they're green, they're red. So now the way I read that is, okay, they're kind of everything. So I'm just going to talk to them like I normally talk. Because if I am red naturally and you're showing, if I literally can't read you, then I'm just going to be myself. Because you got to have a chunk of me, my natural language in you. So that makes it even easier. But I'm telling you, most people, you'll be able to read them very quickly. Like probably 80% of the people are clearly one or the other. And when you get really stumped, then just go with what I just said.
Carrie, you have your mic open. Did you have a question?
What's your color, Carrie?
That was an accident.
What is your color?
I'm listening in. Oh, Lord of mercy. I'm a little bit of everything. I'm like all over the place.
Okay, which means you're not a green.
Probably, yeah. Probably, honestly, probably more blue, yellow, or green because I do I drive, big Wagoneer because I wanted someplace for my I want to have plenty of room for my grandkids. You know, I buy things and I do things according to what other people in my family need. I always put them first. So here I'm talking about myself. Maybe I'm a red. I don't know. No, I'm not. But this is very interesting. It's the first time I've been on one of your calls, and I just saw it on, something popped up on my phone.
Yeah.
And so I'm really excited about this. It's so true too. It's just so true, and it's common sense, but you got to pay attention to it.
Absolutely. And if it helps an agent to secure just a few more deals a year, that's a lot of money, right?
Yeah.
That you could have lost because you weren't able to connect with that potential buyer or seller. So that's what we love, using these type of skills that we've learned throughout our lifetime.
Yeah. And I had sat with a seller who I knew immediately I said the wrong thing.
Oh,
Like, okay, this is it. I'm done. I'm out. I know they're not gonna, but he was hard to deal with. He was obviously a red. Looking at him, he was a red, and he was someone that I probably would have said, "Hey, we don't get along. Let's just, split ways," kind of thing. So,
Well, that's what these trainings do great at, is if you understand someone's a red, then you now can tweak your personality to match them a little bit more.
Right. Very interesting. Very good.
Great.
very
Hey, Marc,
cool.
Thank you.
You're right. Hey, Marc, thank you for coming on. We really appreciate it. Love all this content. I mean, I've been using it for years and years and years, and I'll probably will till the day I die.
And so the event's going to be on September 12 to the 14 in Dallas, Texas. And so if you click on that link right there, we can post it again, Marc Accetta. And also, thank you, Marc, for giving us the free test, because after this, I'm going to take the test and get to know me again.
Oh, yeah. You'll love
I
that.
love it. And thank you so
All
much.
right, guys. Well, hey. Thanks a lot for joining our Monday Mastermind. We'll be back next Monday at 12 noon Eastern time. And hopefully we'll see you in Dallas as well.
Yay.
Right on. Thank you, guys.
Thank
Have
you,
a blessed
guys.
day.
Thank you, Marc, so much.
Good seeing you, Marc.
Bye.
Thanks, Marc. Bye.